Okay, maayong adlaw po sa ating lahat. So welcome to PANTAS, Environmental Research in the Local and Global Setup. And ngayon po ay episode 14 na, April 13, 2024, Sabado. And our program will run from 3 to 4 p.m. I'm Kevin Torino, the President and Founder of the Philippine Association of Environmental Science Students, and I'll be your host for today. And I am from the UPLB School of Environmental Science and Management. So, as early as now po, pinapaalala na po namin na meron po tayong webinar e-certificates. So, for participants, attendance, kindly include your name and university in the FB Live comment section. So, magsha-shoutout po kami later once we see your name in our comment section. And then the link to the evaluation form will be placed in the FB Live comment section before the event ends. And isasara po namin yun bukas sa Linggo, 8 p.m. Okay. And pakilala lang po ulit namin ng PAES. Kami po ang samahan ng mag-aaral ng Anghampang Kapaligiran ng Pilipinas, and we are the national organization from both undergraduate and graduate levels of graduate degree level program aligned, related, or equivalent to environmental science and environmental management. Tinatanggap din po namin ng environmental engineering, environmental planning, environmental biology, and more. Kasama rin po yung course na feel ko first time nyo pong narinig, yung sa speaker po natin mamaya, ipapakilala po natin kung ano po ba yung degree niya for her master's. And for membership inquiries, contact us at membership.paes@gmail.com. So ganito pong kalawak na yung PAES. So right now, we are 46 as of April 2024. So we have 46 universities. And meron po kaming 4 na universities na ipapakilala po namin sa mga susunod na slides. So ang bagong membro po ng PAES, ay sorry, next pa pala yan. So for our presentation outline, syempre lagi po tayo nagbe-baseline. And then opening remarks and introduction of the resource speaker, presentation and konting talastasan, and some announcements. So, punta po muna tayo sa baselining before ipakilala yung mga orgs. Punta po kayo sa menti.com and you can type the code 28061069. Again, type the code 28061069. So, punta po tayo sa menti.com. Okay. So, para sa po ng question natin, nasa ang probinsya ka ngayon? So, for example, Laguna. So, again, you can use the code 28061069. So, sa mga 28 watchers po natin sa Facebook Live, pwede rin po kayo magpakilala para makita po namin kung asan po ang inyong province. So, medyo nagde-delay lang po yung signal ng screen to the Facebook Live. Okay po. So, we have Cavite and Tarlac. Meron pa po ba? Okay, Manila, Parañaque. Ay, kilala ko po yung taga Parañaque. Ang ating ano. Okay. Double check ko lang po yung Facebook Live kung asaan sila ngayon. So marami naman nag-heart sa Facebook Live, pero nahihiya pa po ata sila magpakilala. Okay, bigyan pa po natin ng konting minuto kasi kaka-start lang naman po ng ating programa. At pwede rin po natin invite yung other universities para po makanood din po sila sa Facebook Live. Okay, meron po tayo from Isabela. Hala, isa sa pinakamainit na na lugar sa Pilipinas. So ang heat index po ng Manila is nasa 40 degrees. Medyo mas mataas pa po sa Isabela. So meron rin po tayong Agusan del Norte and then Pampanga. Okay, salamat po sa ating FB watchers. So ang next question po natin would be, ay wait lang. Wait lang po. Okay. So I think medyo naglolo ko po ang Mentimeter natin. Ay, pwede start na please. Okay, sige. So ayan. So ang tanong po natin for our second question is, gaano po kayo kapamilyar sa Verde Island Passage? So medyo nag-ano lang po, bigla naging quiz setup to. So pwede niyo pong sagutin kung not familiar, neutral, or familiar. Okay. Gaano po kayo ka-familiar sa Verde Island Passage? Wala naman pong tamang sagot, pero pwede pa po kayong sumagot. Nag-end lang yung quiz. Okay. So, meron pong dalawa na not familiar sa Verde Island Passage, merong isa na neutral, at merong apat na familiar. So, I think ito yung mga nasa Mimaropa or yung mga NVICI students natin, medyo familiar sa mga protected areas natin. Okay? So, I think medyo ano lang po ang ating menti ngayon. Pero at least with our small community of environmental science students, nakikita po natin na familiar tayo. Pero wala po nakitawid sa very familiar. So balik lang po tayo sa ating presentation. Ayan, Sir Jimboy, okay na po yung menti.com. Sagot na lang po kayo sa question ay sa comment section natin. Okay. So, antayin lang po natin na mag-follow up ang ating Facebook Live. Medyo may lag po talaga siya today. Okay, sige po. Ayan, okay. Medyo okay na. So, pakilala po ulit natin yung bagong apat na universities na sumali po sa PAES. Ang pinakauna ay Central Luzon State University, Association of Future Environmental Scientists from Muñoz, Nueva Ecija. The second one is Northeastern Mindanao State University, Association of Green Advocates from Tandag City, Surigao del Sur. Third is the Sultan Kudarat State University Environmental Science Society from Tacloban City, Sultan Kudarat. And Pangasinan State University Association of Environmental Science Students for Sustainability and Inclusivity from Binmalay, Pangasinan. So dahil po doon, nadagdagan po ng bagong apat na university na merong nag-offer ng program ng environmental science sa atin pong hanay ng mga mag-aaral for environmental science. And kung napansin niyo po sa Facebook page namin, i-shoutout lang po ulit namin, nagkaroon po kami ng Bulawan Awards. So ito po ay isang internal awards para sa mga organizations na member ng PAES. At nahiram po yung tatlo na organization na nasa screen nyo bilang top 3 winners. So TSU Environmental Science Society, sila po yung first overall champion para sa Bulawan Awards. Followed by the Caraga State CSU Environmental Science, Environmental Advocate Society, and the third one is DHVSU Environmental Science Society. So congratulations po sa mga organizations and universities and departments na sobrang supportive po nung napanalunan nila yung kanilang mga awards. And isa pa po is nagkaroon po kami ng F2F PAES Anniversary Celebration. So ito po ikatatlong taon ng PAES. And pinakauna po anniversary na mayroong official university host. So yung sa Mindanao celebration po namin ay hinost po kami ng University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines mula sa Cagayan de Oro. And 14 universities po across Mindanao region yung pumunta para po magsama-sama kami. And sa Manila naman po, nagkaroon din po kami ng isa pang celebration and approximately 12 universities din po yung nakapunta. So dahil po nagkaluwag na yung pandemic, so medyo nagkakaroon na po talaga tayo ng face-to-face activities. But for the benefit of uh, reaching more people, yung webinars po namin, minamaintain namin na online para kahit hindi po kayo pumunta on a certain location, pwede pa rin po kayo makinig. And pwede niyo po siyang i-rewatch. So again, happy 3rd anniversary sa atin sa PAES. And kung hindi niyo pa po pina-follow yung ating social media, we have Instagram and YouTube channel. So NVISI_students_PH. Marami pong photos doon para isang scroll lang, puro pictures po yung makikita nyo. And we also have our YouTube channel wherein we upload our webinars afterwards para kung gusto niyo nga po ng concentrated watching of the webinars, meron din po tayo. So that's at Environmental Science Students PH. So again, yung webinar e-certificates natin, pwede po kayong maglagay ng pangalan nyo and university sa FB Live comment section, and the link to the evaluation form will be placed in the FB Live comment section before the event ends. And punta na po tayo sa main body of our program, which is yung ating speaker. So for the opening remarks, inaasahan po natin ang environmental science students or other interested degrees ay dapat magkaroon po ng holistic approach. Kasi po yung types of ecosystem natin is at least 7 and we have at least 5 components. So hindi po pwedeng mapabayaan yung isang component dahil nagpo-focus tayo sa isa. So tinuturuan po kami sa Envisign na holistic po dapat lagi yung pag-solve namin sa mga environmental problems. And para po sa ating speaker for this afternoon, we have Miss Jema A. Asinas, MENRM. So she graduated BSc Environmental Science in Mindoro State College of Agriculture and Technology Main Campus or MINSCAT, pero naging MINSU na po sila. And then her master's is Master of Environmental and Natural Resources Management from the UP of the University of the Philippines Open University. Ma'am Jesma, welcome po sa PAES.
Hello, salamat sa pag-invite sa akin dito bilang speaker ninyo sa Pantas webinar. And congratulations sa mga nanalo ng Bulawan Awards. Malayo pa yung score namin, yung Minso Environmental Science Society. Pero masayang-masaya ako para sa inyo bilang organization ng buong bansa. And binabati ko kayo ng happy 3rd founding anniversary ng PAES. Sana magtagal pa talaga tayo at marami pa tayong milestones na maranasan. Ayun. So, I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Yes? Okay, clear ba yung aking audio?
Yes, Miss Jesma.
Okay, so you're now seeing my screen?
Yes po, naka-full screen na din po. May proceed
Ah,
po.
Thank you. So, ang topic natin for today is environmental research in global and local setup. And now, pag sinabi nating research talaga, malawak, malalim, nakakatakot, pero masaya. Okay? So, just to define, alam naman natin that research is a process, a systematic process of inquiry to establish facts and arrive into a conclusion. So, hindi siya basta na isang proseso. Kundi systematic siya. Meron siyang mga steps, it has procedures, it has the standards in order to arrive in a conclusion. And of course, research is a method of exploration. Pero bilang environmental scientists or let's say researchers, masaya yung field natin bilang mga researchers. Pag sinabing environmental science, we are environmental scientists. Scientists, not only environmental advocates or not only environmentalists, pero we are scientific. Bumabase tayo doon sa mga facts. And as a scientist, we are not easily agreeing with an information. Kundi, we are dealing with it. Tinitingnan natin muna yung background. We are searching for publications, journal publications to support the idea kung tama nga ba. Okay? We can run series of observations or explorations, experimentations in order to prove that idea. Okay? So, masaya nga ba bilang environmental scientists? Kung akong tatanungin, masayang-masaya ako na ito yung career ko. Sa totoo lang, it is not planned na mag-aral ako ng environmental science. Kasi, nung una gusto ko maging scientist. Pero, I don't know how with the means of living that my family had before. So, kung ano lang yung available in the college na malapit, so doon ako. Pero, with a twist of time, na hindi pala ako para doon. Nag-open yung BS Environmental Science sa MINSCAT or now MINSU. And now nakita ko yung the road or the way for loving the environment, for environmental conservation. I see the purpose of my life having that degree. And nag-enjoy naman ako throughout my college years. And I hope kayo rin na proud kayo bilang mag-aaral ng environmental science. Kasi As environmental scientists, we are not just gathering data, but we are enjoying our field. Sa totoo lang, maraming naiinggit na bakit kayo, ang saya-saya niyo sa field, na kapag nakamasyal kayo, parang nagbabakasyon kayo, kahit na nagwo-work, kahit na kumukuha ng data. Because our classroom is the environment itself. Okay? Yun yung ating mode of learning. Lumalabas tayo, we learn something from the trees, we learn something from a mangrove ecosystem, from a lake, or just inside the laboratory, we are also environmental scientists. And environmental science as a career is a multidisciplinary. Marami tayong pwedeng maging mukha bilang isang environmental scientist. Sabi nila, isang environmental scientist ay generalist. Kumbaga, at the top view, marami tayong pwedeng pag-aralan. Geology, meteorology, earth science or other earth sciences, laws, social sectors, pwede nating pag-aralan. Of course, about taxonomy, about botany, wildlife, yan. Pero, bilang isang scientist, sa mga thesis natin, sa mga research studies natin, we can dig deeper. Doon natin ma-identify kung ano yung gusto natin bilang isang environmental scientist. Saan tayo magko-focus? You can focus on marine ecosystems, dealing with corals or mangroves or seagrass. You can do research uplands, caring for the native trees, for the birds, for the soil, the water quality, the air. Marami. And pwede natin pagsama-samahin yan kasi environment yung ating career. Okay? So we need to dig deeper. And we need to use research in order for us to fulfill our career. Kasi that is our purpose. Hindi pwedeng maging scientist ang isang mag-aaral kung walang research. Yun talaga yung face natin bilang isang scientist. Kasi we need to understand what the world is. Okay? So, ayan. So, of course, you are familiar with the scientific method. And research is this, with the scientific method. So, supposedly we have a problem that we are encountering, or let's say you have your topics already, and then sa mga experimental design ng research, there is a hypothesis. Kasi you need to prove a statement. Okay? Meron namang klase ng research na hindi kailangan ng hypothesis or just description or an observation lang ng isang ecosystem or group of species. So, yan. And then you make observations, and then from that, you analyze and interpret the data. And kung ano man yung nakuha niyang data, you need to dig deeper, see yung mga literatures na nagsusupport doon, or pwedeng kayo yung una na makapagdagdag sa information ng science. That is very much appreciated bilang isang environmental scientist. Na halimbawa, kayo makadiscover ng panibago or newly described na species na to. Okay? Pero yung career na ganun, bilang biologist, parang nag-share tayo with that, environmental scientist and biologist. Pero it's part of our career. Okay? And then, from the analysis and interpretation, there is the conclusion. Now, we can see yung product ng research. Okay? Ano nga ba yung ibig sabihin ng mga nakuha nating data? And ano nga ba yung purpose ng pagkuha natin ng data? Okay? Na pwede nating i-add sa body ng science. And kung may hypothesis kayo, you can prove it true or false, or accept the null, or accept the alternative hypothesis. So that's a very statistics talaga. It's part of research also. And then if you are aiming to do scholarly works, you need to publish your results in referee journals or Scopus journals for you to be recognized or to be cited in the future. So, yun ang hamon sa atin, ano? not only dealing with research, but also showcasing your work and sharing it to the public. Kasi tayong mga tao, tayong mga scientists, we need to involve ourselves in the community. Kailangan involved tayo sa kanila because we are all humans. We are all connected. Kaya, ang isang goal natin is to share what we have. What are the products of our research? Not only to prove it to ourselves na ay napatunayan ko na ganito pala ang mga birds na ito. So, ano naman? So you need to share it to others. Okay? And isa pa sa research, hindi pwedeng ano at ilan lamang ang ating kukunin. Kailangan may kasunod na tanong. Ano naman? Kung malaman ko kung anong mga ibon na narito, anong klase ng mangroves ang nandoon, or anong mga puno, anong behavior, ganyan. So, anong sunod? You need to think further. The next step. So, what is the importance of your research? Yan. Kailangan mabigat. Okay? Kasi hindi pwedeng ano-ano lang. Okay? You need to establish the great importance of your research na sumasagot sa tanong na, ano naman ngayon? Okay? Ayan. So, let's discuss about the importance of environmental research. So, firstly, research adds valuable information to science. For example, yung mga newly discovered or newly described species. Lalo na, for example, sa mga plants or sa botany. Yan. Medyo kakaunti pa yung naka-focus sa environmental aspects ng plants. Pwede rin naman yung sa mga DNA barcoding or let's say genetic diversity ng plants because medyo kakamukha yung ibang plants pero they are different pala. Okay? Unlike with birds na medyo madaling i-identify because of their features, because of their physical characteristics, the color, the length of the wings, the span of the wings, or the distinct features ng kanilang mga katawan. So, we need to add valuable information to science by means of research. And kung research ang pag-uusapan, yung plain research. So, we can say that it is basic research, yung to add valuable information to science. Like baseline studies, yan. So, isang example yan ng basic science, okay? Yung mga panibagong mga discoveries, for example, sa Verde Island Passage. Because we know that Verde Island Passage is the center of marine biodiversity in the world. So, nasa sentro tayo. Marami pang hindi na-discover about VIP. And if you are interested, so you can delve with that research topic. Kung ano man doon sa Verde Island Passage ang gusto ninyong pag-aralan. Or in a global setup, so another information about climate change, forest destruction, wildlife poaching, yan, or illegal wildlife trade, ayan. So, and many, many more. So, the first purpose of environmental research is to add valuable information to science. And with that basic research, pupunta tayo sa applied research. Yun na yung paggamit natin ng information or let's say facts, baseline studies from science to evaluate how human activities affect the environment. Ayan. Mahalaga ito kasi nandyan na yung environmental distractions from human activities. Many, many phases of environmental degradation. Okay? Nasira na yung mga natural habitats because of human activities. Magagamit natin yung information ng baseline studies, for example, the ecological profile of that ecosystem na andoon. There is a list, for example, of critically endangered species, endangered and vulnerable species, of course, the quality of the water, the quality of the air, the soil. So, it is rich, for example, and then nasira because of human activities na hindi naman permitted. Walang ECC or hindi nag-undergo ng EIA or patago. Yan, mga hidden activities. So, hindi na maiwasan yun. No? Minsan, tutuklasan na lang natin sa isang lugar, biglang may kalsada na. Pero doon siya dadaan sa critical habitats. That is a no-no. Okay? And we need research to back the information na kailangan hindi pala to mangyari. Na we need to prove that this habitat is rich. This habitat is important to critically endangered organisms or species and other species in that area, the wildlife. Therefore, we should not destroy the habitat because what if the species that live there, yun na lang yung meron tayo. For example, endemic pa siya, tapos destroyed yung habitat niya. Tapos isa silang island, doon lang sila. And pag nawala yun, so I know that you know already about that. Na yung mga human activities na walang dinaanang tamang proseso. Okay? So, we need research to back up that. You need to evaluate how human activities affect the environment because we are the stewards of the environment. And lastly, to develop strategies for solving environmental problems. And now, applied research pa rin ito. Okay? After we evaluate the human activities level of impact to the environment, we need to develop strategies to solve these problems. Okay? Yung mga strategies na galing din sa research, pinag-aralan natin, tinest natin, tawag dito, nag-undergo ng mga methods or methodologies na ito ay effective pala. This is effective in this community. Therefore, we should apply it based on research na it is effective. Pero, sometimes it needs few years or more years of observation or research in order to pass it as really effective. Okay? So we need to include the community. Huwag natin kakalimutan yung social sector natin, not only the environment, because we are aiming to sustainability. Kailangan sinasa buhay natin yung ating mga goals in life as environmental scientists. Pero ini-involve natin yung community. Because makakatulong natin sila in environmental solutions or in implementing the solutions and techniques that we had from our research. Okay? For example, the IP community. Siguro, di ba, sila yung nandun sa mismong site. For example, a mountain area. Nandun sila. So, we need to involve them gradually. Although, may mga communities na mahirap i-convince. Real life situations yan na mahirap i-convince yung ibang communities kasi it is new to their way of lives. So, sa way of life nila, hindi yon kabilang. Hindi yun bahagi ng tradition nila. So, we need to be patient with them. We need to act level by level para makonvince sila na tulungan tayo in order to conserve our natural resources, especially in the uplands. Because what happens in the upland areas, nangyayari yun pababa. Okay? Sa mountain areas, masira ang ating mountainous areas, ang forest. Paano lang rivers natin? Silted, masyadong eroded yung mga soil and particles because there's no one holding these soil particles sa taas. And then gravity, yan. And then papunta sa ating mga marine ecosystems. Okay? Nasisira yung ating mga coral reefs kasi natabunan sila ng mga sediments, lumalabo yung tubig, and nagkakos ng destruction doon sa baba. Pwedeng mawala yung mga corals doon, mag-migrate or lumipat, ma-displaced yung mga marine organisms like ano pa ba, yung for example, yung sa plants, seagrass, or pwedeng mga fish, okay? So, kailangan balance from upland to reef. Sinasabi nilang ridge to reef approach. Okay? Balanse sa environmental science. Okay? Kailangan involve ang social sector, the economic sector, and the environmental sector to attain sustainability. So kung alam niyo, alam naman niyo siguro yon, the three pillars of sustainability, kailangan yung tatlong yun ay angat lahat. Hindi pwedeng maiwan ng social sector, pero nagbo-boom ang economic sector ng Pilipinas or ang environmental sector ng Pilipinas. Hindi pwedeng sira naman yung ating kalikasan, pero ang ganda ng ekonomiya natin. Okay? We are not aiming for sustainability. Sustainability if that happens. Okay? So ito yung mga importance of environmental research. By means of research, we aim to add valuable information to science, to evaluate how human activities affect the environment, and to develop strategies for solving environmental problems. And I hope marami na tayong nagagawa. Lalo ngayon, I think na-observe ko na kahit sa balita, meron ng mga environmental news. News about the environment. News about environmental heroes. Yung mga biodiversity heroes, mga ecosystem heroes, yung mga nangangalaga sa ating mga katubigan, sa hangin, sa soil. So, ayan. Kaya sana marami pa tayong maengganyo na let's say, ano ba tawag doon? Ma-attract, yes, ma-attract na mga tao towards environmental conservation. Kasi it is our future. There is no earth kung walang mga tao nangangalaga dito. There is no sustainability if the people does not practice sustainable measures or sustainable activities. Okay? Kaya mabuhay tayong mga environmental scientists or mga environmental students, mga advocates. Yan. Mga mag-aaral, mga tao na pro-environment and pro-environmental conservation. Okay, so since we have heroes, environmental heroes now, pasadahan lang natin yung environmental problems that we have in a global and local setup. So, syempre, wala tayong research kung wala tayong naranasan din na mga problema sa ating kalikasan. So, ito yung one way to solve these problems, okay? The research. So, firstly, we have climate change. Of course, you know about global warming and climate change, the science behind this global problem, okay? So, as you can see in the graph from the NOAA, the blue bars represent the temperature below 0 degrees Celsius. And you have in x-axis the year or yung mga taon na lumipas. And in the y-axis, you can see the temperature or the global mean temperature natin. Okay? And then the red one, ito na yung temperature readings above 0 degrees Celsius. And kung makikita natin, kung ililinya natin sila, pataas ang ating graph. Okay? So, pataas ang temperatura ng mundo. Okay? And it is because of our activities that enhance the greenhouse gases sa atmosphere natin, which cause to have or having the global warming and then climate change. Okay? So, ito yung video from 1880 na umiinit na yung mundo. And Philippines is not one of the countries. Ay, hindi tayo isa sa mga malalaking countries na nag-i-emit ng greenhouse gases, yung anthropogenic greenhouse gases. Pero we are very much affected with the effects of climate change, isn't it? So, strong typhoons, naranasan natin yan. Yung pagkakaroon ng early migration ng mga ibon, kasi nagbago na yung pattern, kala nila migration period na, Pero yung normal migration period nila, hindi pa. So pagdating nila doon sa lugar, wala pa silang makain kasi napaaga sila ng dating. Kasi yun yung instinct nila to migrate kaagad kasi nagbago na kaagad yung nag-shift kaagad yung season or yung atmospheric conditions. So, ayan, it is a global problem and we need to solve it through research in a local setting also. Okay? Kasi lahat tayo, if we contribute to the goal to combat climate change, we can with it globally. Okay? Kasi tayo, naapektuhan tayo ng climate change. Although hindi tayo yung big countries na pangunahin nag-emit or cause. Kasi contributor sa global warming and climate change. Okay? We need to have research about the solutions. For example, reforestation. Okay? Tama ba yung itinatanim nating mga puno? Tama ba yung pagtatanim natin ng mga puno? So before it is like plant and plant and plant without knowing, without observing, without doing research that it's not effective. Okay? So may nakita akong reforestation area. Actually, it is a mangrove reforestation area. Yung species na itinanim is not applicable to the zone of of that area. Kasi in mangroves, we have zonation. May zonation yan. Okay? So sa mga mangrove enthusiasts, alam natin that Sunirasha alba and Abyssinian marina at the front. Okay? Sa mga sa may coastal, yung mismong tabing dagat. Okay? Sila yung mga fronts. And then yung mga rhizopora, yung mga bakawan ay sa medyo behind ng species ng Abyssinian marina at Sonirasha alba. So pero yung nakita ko, sila yung nasa front, yung mga Rhizopora species, which is somehow wrong kasi masyado silang madikit or nandun na talaga sila mismo sa may dagat. Sa tubig na talaga sila. And nabuhay naman, kaso hindi lumaki. Mali rin kasi yung spacing ng pagtatanim. Dikit-dikit sila. Magandang tingnan sa satellite kasi in rows, tuwid, may linya. Pero, it's not advisable to plant mangroves in that space. Mga 0.5 meters lang yung distance. So, paano palalaki yung mga mangroves na yun? Kahit man mag-adapt siya doon, paano siya lalaki? Kung dikit-dikit. So, dapat, may say ang research doon that those species or the mangroves, kailangan hindi sila ganun itanim. Okay? Kung alamin ng mga tao, dapat hindi yun ang ginawa nila. Kaya kailangan natin ng research na sabihin sa kanila na ganun. Okay? Para sa susunod, hindi na ito maulit. So, nasabi ko lang yan because it's part of climate change because reforestation. We know that mangroves house or absorbs carbon and store it in the soil, in their biomass. So, it is good to plant mangroves, but plant mangroves correctly. Okay? Not behind the seawall. Because there are also instances na nagka-plant sila ng mangrove behind the seawall. So, paano yun? Saan magagaling ang tubig ng mga mangroves kung may seawall sa harap nila? So, it's not preferable as a reforestation measure. So, we need to think. We need to read more. Okay? And to combat climate change. Kasi it's not an easy problem. It is a serious matter. Okay? Climate change. We need to do right solutions to mitigate and adapt to climate change. Next is biodiversity loss. So we have in the Philippines many endemic species. And kung hindi ako nagkakamali, more than 50% of the species in the country ay endemic sa buong mundo. Endemic sa Philippines. So 50% sa atin makikita. Okay? So, endemic in the Philippines. Ganon kaganda yung history ng evolution, history ng geologic evolution ng Pilipinas na nag-create sa mga endemic species na to, kagaya ng Philippine eagle. Of course, you have known this very iconic eagle, the largest eagle in the world. Okay? We also have Rafflesia manilana, this orchid, pangalan nito ay Vanda Sanderian. And of course, in Mindoro, kasi taga Mindoro ako, so we have Bubalus mindorensis or the Tamaraw. Yan. So, biodiversity loss is an environmental problem because the biological aspect is part of environmental science. So, some of us are involved in biodiversity studies. So, part pa rin tayo ng solution. Kasi, if we are into biodiversity, we are helping our environment because they are part of the ecosystem services. They balance the ecosystem. They are indicator species. Yan. So, biodiversity or ang samat-saring buhay o sari buhay is threatened by habitat degradation, overexploitation of natural resources, climate change, of course, and introduction of invasive alien species like, sorry to say, yung mga maling itinanim na mga invasive species sa tree growing or tree planting before. So, sinira niya yung mga natural habitats. So, I hope na hindi na yon mangyari in the future now that we are growing in number. So, kailangan marami na yung pumupuna sa mga maling gawain towards environmental solutions na hindi nagiging environmental solution. Right? So, ito yung mga threatened Philippine flora and fauna from DENR Administrative Order 2019, series of 2019. Yan. Ito lang yung mga excerpt from that DAO. So, ito yung mga critically endangered species ng mammals, ng birds, reptiles, and amphibians, and invertebrates. So, ito yung mga threatened categories from IUCN. Critically endangered, and vulnerable. So, mas marami tayo sa vulnerable species. So, one step away na lang itong critically endangered ay extinct na siya. So, marami tayong nasa brink na extinction. So, we need to protect that because it is endemic in the Philippines. So, marami tayong birds and invertebrates. Next is habitat degradation. So, we have many phases or forms of environmental degradation. So, forest destruction in general. Or, yeah. So, from illegal logging, mining, yan, ganyan. And, itong mangrove area na na-convert sa fish pond, ang sakit sa mata. Kasi, imagine that mangrove forest behind, sobrang dense. And then at the middle, butas. There is a hole, a huge hole, a clear land of before mangrove area. So, kasi kinonvert siya sa fish pond. Imagine kung ganyang kadami ng mangroves ang naputol, sobrang nakakalungkot. And we need to back up that with research, that mangroves are important, that forest trees are important. Okay? So, para maiwasan na yung ganyang mga future activities. Kasi nakakalungkot. Okay? Of course, we have pollution. Kabi-kabila din, air, water, and land. We are familiar with water pollution, mas familiar tayo dyan kasi yung mga sewage systems, yung mga excess fertilizers, yung mga eutrophication o yung masyadong concentration ng nutrients sa isang lake or sa isang pond, for example. So, pag yan lahat ay napunta sa isang mas malaking body ng water, so mas malaking problema ang ating kakaharapin. And of course, yung mga outflows or ano tawag dito, mga water flowing from establishments na walang discharge permit, walang katamtaman o angkop na proseso para malinis yung tubig bago siya ibalik doon sa water body. So, nangyayari yan, pollution. So, the misuse and abuse of our natural resources like air, water, and land that can result to another type of pollution or problem like this algal bloom. So, ito'y galing sa eutrophication. Okay? Concentration siya ng nutrients, tapos kinakain siya ng mga algae. So, pag dami ng pagkain ng algae, dumadami rin sila. So, they are easily been multiplied. Okay? Kasi single-cell organism yung iba sa kanila. So, bilis na mag-multiply kasi daming pagkain eh. And then we have plastic pollution. So, it is a different scenario. Although pollution siya, pero mas lumaki na yung problema natin dito because of our improper waste discharge. Okay? Or yan, sa mga estuaries, sa mga rivers, and then nagpo-flow sila sa seas, sa ocean, hanggang yun. Magkaroon na ng mga garbage patch sa ating Pacific Ocean at sa iba pang ocean sa mundo. This is a global problem, of course, because many countries na ang involved dito, not only Philippines. So, as you can see itong at the lower part na image, ito yung imahe ng garbage patch sa Pacific Ocean na nadadala sila because of the water currents. And then, by means of the gyres o yung large circulating water currents sa ating Pacific Ocean. And, ayan, naipon sila dun sa gitna. And nagkukos sila ng distraction sa mga marine organisms na kumakain doon sa mga plastic. Akala nila jellyfish or kung ano man pagkain nila, na-stuck na yun sa kanilang stomach, and then eventually they will die because of starvation or cannot be able to eat kasi feeling nila busog sila dahil maraming laman ang tiyan. Pero hindi yun nagigiling, hindi yun natutunaw because we know about plastics that it can decompose thousands of years ago pa bago mawala yun or ma-decompose. Okay? And then eventually, yung mga nandyan sa garbage patch, pwedeng maging microplastic. So, another area for research about microplastic. Okay? Ano nga ba yung effect nito sa ating oceans, sa mga organisms, sa marine organisms, sa marine ecosystems like mangroves. Because sa mga napuntahan kong mangrove areas, ang dami dong basura. Kasi, tinatrap ng mga ugat or yung density ng mangrove forest yung mga basura. Lalo sila nakatira pa or situated pa doon yung mga tao minsan adjacent to the mangrove ecosystems. So, nandun talaga yung mga basura nila. So, lack of discipline. Kaya we need to tell the world the importance of mangrove ecosystems and the importance of our activities as humans. Kasi nakaka-apekto tayo sa kanila. So, what can we do about that? Okay? So, we need to have a research na kasama. Kasi, sinabi ni ganito, according to this scientist, so, tested na niya. So, we need to back up that with research. So, Philippines ranked third in terms of the major sources of plastic pollution in the Pacific Ocean in 2020. Pangatlo tayo sa major sources ng plastic pollution. Pero ngayon, marami namang mga lugar na yung hindi na gumagamit ng plastic. Gumagamit na sila ng mga biodegradable na mga containers from cornstarch. Tama ba ako? Hindi pala. I'm sorry. From, ano nga ito? Yung cassava. Yes, cassava. Yun. Familiar ako dun sa cassava kasi nabasa ko siya and ngumiti ako kasi nakita ako ng biodegradable na container. And of course, sana pag dumaan ng mahaba pang ilan pang mga taon, ay wala na tayong plastic na ginagamit. Kasi hindi lang tayo naapektuhan yan, pati yung iba. Because we are all connected. Alright? So, yun yung ilan sa mga environmental problems that we need to solve through research. And I hope na huwag kayo mawala ng pag-asa sa mga problemang ating nararanasan. Kasi, tayong lahat, sabi nga ni Miss Earth noon, the micro effects or the micro solutions can turn to a macro solution. And eventually we can solve the problems of the earth. Okay? Ayan. So we have three approaches to environmental research. So we have monodisciplinary research or approach, multidisciplinary, and interdisciplinary research or approach. So when we say monodisciplinary research, so it is just based on a single discipline. So environmental science ay multidiscipline. So meron siyang about taxonomy, meron siya about botany, wildlife, yan. What else? About meteorology, geology, and many, many more. Okay, so single discipline lang itong monodisciplinary approach. For example, gagamit lang ng science about botany, about taxonomy. So the problem is, for example, what are the species of mangroves present in Nauhan, Oriental Mindoro? Ano lang yung mga mangroves doon? So it is also a form of research kasi you add valuable information to science, pero ginagamit mo lang din taxonomy. So wala siyang kasunod na na research. So, pwede mo siyang sundan. So, another phase of research. Okay? Sa multidisciplinary naman, so ito ginagamit na ito ng environmental science kasi tayo ay multidisciplinary. So, it is based on more than one discipline wherein the result is the sum of all the different disciplines. For example, tayo ay bubuo ng isang team na merong geologist, na merong meteorologist, merong ornithologist, tapos merong forester, yan, merong soil analyst, isang team para i-profile yung isang ecosystem. For example, a lake, yan, or a peatland, a mangrove area, okay? A forest area or a critical habitat. So, buo tayo ng team na may halimbawa ay 5 disciplines or 5 specializations to come up with a profile about that ecosystem. So that is multidisciplinary. May isang product coming from those disciplines. And isa pang mukha ng multidisciplinary research, pwede mo siyang hiwa-hiwalayin. Okay? For example, the geology of the Tungloy Lake. For example, ay the water quality of the Tungloy Lake. Okay? The birds of Tungloy Lake. What else? The plants of Tungloy Lake, ganyan. So, 4, for example. And pag pinagsama-sama mo yung disciplines na yon, you can have the ecological profile, for example. Yan. Okay? So, that is the multidisciplinary research. And marami na kayong pwedeng gawing research doon. Okay? Kasi maraming discipline kasama doon. You can also have social research. Ano yung doon? Ano yung say or impression, perception, yan yung mga simpleng research na about social research. Yeah. And then last, we have interdisciplinary research. So it is in higher level. So mas high level siya compared to multidisciplinary. So integration of many contributions or sub-discipline, like yung pagkasama-samahin mo na yung mga iba't ibang large disciplines. Let's say socioeconomic studies. You have the social and economic sectors. Bukod na study yung sa economics nila. Okay? Yung tawag dito, yung mga kinikita nila, yan, ano yung kanilang source of income, ganyan. Sa social naman, social na part is saan nila ginagamit yung kanilang mga income, yan, paano sila kumikita, ganyan. And ano yung mga way of life nila na connected sa kanilang economic status. So, interdisciplinary na siya. Okay? And of course, we have socio-ecological naman kung gusto nating iugnay yung humans or the social sector to the environment or to the ecological sector. So, yung interaction nila, the human-environment interaction. Okay? So, that's interdisciplinary. And yung environmental science research ay gumagamit ng multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary if you have bigger scope. Yan. If you want to have bigger scope. Yan. Interdisciplinary research. Kasi, minsan base na lang yun sa lugar eh. May mga tao doon, and then you are aware of their way of life, their connections or interactions with the environment. So, you can have interdisciplinary research. Yeah, that's a big project. Okay? So, ngayon, pakilala ko lang, alam ko, kilala niyo naman ang Pilipinas. And I hope you are proud that you came from the Philippines. You are from the Philippines. Okay? Um, ang pinapakita ko rito ay ang Philippine Archipelago or Group of Islands in the Pleistocene Aggregated Island Complex Map ni Hini in 1986. So, itong may mga bilog dito, yung encircled or pinapalibutan ng mga lines ay mga endemic areas or biodiversity rich areas. Okay? Na unique from each other. For example, in Palawan, the Greater Palawan, we call it the Greater Palawan. The Greater Mindoro, the Greater Luzon, the Negros and Panay, Greater Mindanao, ano pa itong isa? The Romblon Islands. What else? The Camiguin. Ayan. And many others. Greater Sulu. Yan. Kasi the evolution of our country, yung tectonic evolution niya, nagmula dun sa period ng Pleistocene. So, kaya tawag yun ay Pleistocene Aggregated Island Complex. Wherein, ito na yung panahon kung saan nabuo yung Pilipinas na medyo mababa pa yung water level. And then, nagkaroon siya ng way para mag-share ng mga genetic aggregates o diversity yan, species diversity. Tapos, nung tumaas na yung tubig ulit, yung water level, nawala na yung parang mga tulay na lupa na sinasabi nila, nagkaroon ng endemicity sa mga island. For example, in Mindoro, in Palawan, okay? May mga endemic species sila talaga na doon lamang sa islands na yun. Meron sa Luzon, meron sa Negros and Panay because magkadikit lang sila, nag-share sila ng some of the species. So, the island endemics, okay? Ganon tayo kagaling. Ganon kagaling ang evolution ng Pilipinas na nag-create sa endemic species ng bawat islands. Imagine that? Because of the waters na pumapalibot sa atin, nagkaroon tayo ng mga gandang uri ng mga hayop, halaman at iba pang organismo. So, of course, the Philippines is endowed with rich water resources because of its setting na tayo archipelago, mineral resources as well, forest and land resources, and fisheries resources. So, alam natin, of course, Philippines is a tropical country. Dense ang forest niya. And compared to other countries, ay mas mayaman ang Pilipinas. Hindi lang sa forest, pati sa minerals. Kaso nga lang, ay minsan ay hindi okay yung pag-deal natin with the mineral resources. Okay, so, nakalungkot. And then, I have here about Mindoro. So, local setup talaga sa Mindoro. Sana may taga Mindoro nanonood. Marami kasing hindi nakakakilala kung saan nakasituate ang Mindoro. Medyo maingay pala itong video. Ayan. So, ang Mindoro ay part ng Mimaropa region. Nakapalibot sa kanya ang Batangas, Palawan, Romblon, Marinduque, ayan. Yan ang Mindoro Island. This is the 7th largest island in the Philippines and this is my time to show to you about Mindoro. So, maraming research areas sa island ng Mindoro. Okay? Because it is the 9th largest biogeographic zone in the Philippines. When we say biogeographic zone, it hosts a number or many biological resources, endemic species, right? So before, mga 85% of Mindoro is primary forest. But now it is only 5% primary forest. The rest ay secondary forest na or plains o yung mga hawan or built-up areas, civilized areas o yung tinitirahan na ng mga tao. So 5% na lang yon at naglalayon in the center. So in the center of the island. Yung between the Occidental Mindoro and Oriental Mindoro. So 5% na lang yung primary forest or virgin forest that Mindoro has. So kaya we need more research persons, scientists para mag-aral sa Mindoro para marami tayong background na dapat pakita natin that Mindoro is rich. Hindi dapat ito masira. Okay? Same as with other islands, the Greater Luzon, the Panay, Negros, Palawan, Mindanao, and other areas of the Philippines. Okay? So, pakita natin through research na kung gaano kayaman ang mga ecosystems natin, ang mga protected areas natin. Hindi lang sa terrestrial, pati sa marine. Kasi we have the Coral Triangle, bahagi tayo nun. Verde Island Passage, okay? Ayan. So, the vegetation type of Mindoro is lowland evergreen rainforest from 650 to 1,000 meters above sea level. We also have mossy forest. Sana mas makarakterize pa yung mga mossy forest, yung mga forest over limestones, yan. Sila kasi minsan hindi na bibigyan ng pansin. Okay. What else? Yung mga caves na meron tayo, ayan. And all of the islands, I think, in the Philippines naman, ay may rich cultural background just like in Mindoro. Kasi, ang Mindoro and Palawan ay nakahiwalay before the places in era, places in period, epoch, ayan. Tas, saka na siya dumugsong and together with the islands of the Philippines. Alright, so, I hope so far clear. And ito ang mga research areas. Okay, so in my career, nagsimula ang research career ko nung nagtuturo na rin ako. Kasi sa academe, may mga opportunities to have research. And it's one of our functions as an instructor or nagtuturo sa academe. Kailangan may research ka rin. And ayun. So, sa air and water quality, you can have, for the management of airsheds, i-characterize yung mga, let's say, the particulate matter, yan, sa air natin, yung mga parameters, kailangan i-search mo yon lalo na dun sa mga congested areas, mga concentrated areas, mga airshed areas. So, of course, is effects of the establishments on water bodies. So, to classify the water bodies according to their use, beneficial use, yan. So you need to have research on that para may guide yung mga establishments on how they're gonna mitigate the impacts kung magkaroon man sa establishment. Kasi kailangan nila yun sa EIA, di ba? So, and gusto ko rin sabihin na sa environmental science, dapat mas marami din tayong nakafocus sa air and water quality. Kasi sa biological part, marami tayong katulong dito. Kaso nga lang, parang minsan kumukonti yung mga tao para sa air and water quality. Okay, kasi tayo mga environmental scientists, dapat nakafocus din tayo doon. Not only in the biodiversity and ecology. Ayan, so doon naman sa biodiversity and ecology, you can have baseline studies on critical habitats or ecosystems, yan, yung mga soon-to-be protected areas, about genetic diversity, about their DNA differences, bioindicator species, yung mga indicators ng ecosystem. So what they say about that ecosystem, yan. So disturbed ecosystems also, about plastic pollution, we can have the types of accumulated plastic wastes and its source, kasi like in mangroves, hindi natin alam yung extent ng effects ng plastic pollution sa mangroves. So, kakunti pang studies dyan na tungkol sa mga dumi or let's say solid waste, plastic waste sa mga marine ecosystems. So, nakakaya ba ng mangroves yon? Natotolerate ba yung effect o hindi? O how much is their carrying capacity o yung kaya ng i-tolerate ng mangroves? Gano'n ka kadaming tonelada ba ng plastic o hindi kaya. Okay? Kasi they're all also organisms, they're species. And it's not good na doon tumambak lahat ng mga plastic. Okay? It's not healthy for other organisms living in that ecosystem. So, the effects of plastic to marine ecosystems, of course, to coral reefs, seagrass, mangroves, and of course, about microplastic. So, it's about the molecular biology part, pero pwede tayo tumulong doon. Okay? Period din natin yon. And then, parang multidisciplinary siya. And other research areas are economics of natural resources. So, sino dito sa inyo ang into field of economics? You need to, yung about valuation of ecosystem services. Maganda yon, magandang study yon. Yung ecosystem services. So, the provisioning, regulating, supporting, and cultural services. Yung iba-value nyo, gaano ba ka-pricey? Say, the value, okay? Gaano kahalaga ang natural resources sa lugar. In terms of these services, yung provisioning, regulating, supporting, and cultural services. And next, we have land cover change. So ito, multidisciplinary din siya by the use of GIS mapping and remote sensing. So, hindi naman kailangan satellite lang, ano. Kailangan din ng mga data about in the biological part, okay? Din land cover change, um, ano pa, soil quality, ay, yung direction ng water. So, although you can have the GIS mapping and remote sensing na tinitingnan yung mga dati ng data. For example, in 1900s, ano yung hitsura ng lugar na ito? And now, ano na yung hitsura? So, you can have a research about that. Okay? Na nakita mo na may pagbabago na sa land use, na may pagbabago na sa density, for example, ng forest. Umunti ba? Nadagdagan? So, pwede rin siya sa reforestation. Okay? Paano? Nakita mo na effective yung reforestation kasi lumaki or dumagdag dun sa forest yung mga itinanim noon. So, that's a success. And you can have that as a research. Okay? Ito na, ano siya sumisikat na rin ngayon, o sikat na, itong GIS na mga studies. Okay? And also remote sensing. Although may kamahalan nga lang yung mga materials, pero you can do that because of funding, ayan, pwede kang magkaroon ng mga funds or kung scholar ka, ayan. Maganda siyang study. Kasi maps. You can generate maps. Okay? About climate change and mitigation naman. Climate change mitigation and adaptation measures. So you can use research to effectively see if the solutions in climate change is good or effective or not. You can have GHG inventory or mga greenhouse gas inventory, ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction management solutions, yung green infrastructure, yan, gusto mo i-prove na napakaganda ng green infrastructure sa lugar na ito. Not only the gray infrastructure, but the green infrastructure. Yun na kasi ang uso din sa urban planning. Okay? Yung pagkakaroon ng greeneries sa loob ng isang syudad. Okay? So, it's more of the planning side. Okay? And management side, pero environmental siya. Okay. And then we have the social research. So the effects of environmental conditions to human health and well-being. So wag natin kakalimutan ang well-being ng mga taong nasa paligid natin. Not only the environment, but also the humans because we are part of the environment. So, kailangan maayos pa rin yung ating kalusugan because we have the right to a healthful environment and in accordance or in harmony with nature. Sabi nga sa ating constitution na meron tayong karapatan sa malinis at maayos na kapaligiran. So kaya, hindi lang dapat natin protektahan yung ating mga kapaligiran, kalikasan, kundi tayo ring mga tao. Pero dapat may balanse dito. Palaging may balanse sa mga sektor. Kasi kung meron balanse, meron tayong patutunguhan. Kasi available pa ang resources in the future. And our future generations can also benefit from what we have today if we do the right thing as environmental scientists through research. Of course. So I think you are familiar with this. So the Sustainable Development Goals, meron tayong 17 to achieve sustainability in 2030, sabi ng United Nations. Or bilang Philippines naman, kabilang siya sa United Nations. Sa mga may project proposal, minsan tinitingnan niya ng mga funders o mga nagbibigay ng fund o ano ba tawag doon. Okay, so Alin dito sa mga goals na ito yung tina-target mo? Okay? Tinitingnan nila yan kung mayroon bang target na goal yung iyong research proposal. So for example, hindi lang life below water, hindi lang life on land, hindi lang climate action, pero you also target about decent work and economic growth, or zero hunger, or good health and well-being, quality education and gender equality, or maalin man dyan. So, yan, may target, hindi lamang yung 13, 14, 15 na SDGs. So, mas maganda may iba pang mga goal dito. So, yun, mas na-approve kasi ang proposal kapag maganda yung target niya. Okay? Holistic, sabi nga ni Mr. Kendrick, ano? Hindi lang nakafocus dun sa, o hindi lang natitigil dun sa mga boundaries na 13, 14, 15, for example. Yan, mas i-approve ang proposal. Ayan. So, sa research flow naman, I know some of you are aware with it, or all of you are aware with it because you are doing research already. Okay? So, the topic identification, kailangan alam mo na yung topic mo. And in topic identification, dapat alam mo yung goal, the problem itself. Okay? Hindi pwedeng basta kang may topic para lang may maitisis. Ano? Kailangan may goal behind that topic. Anong gusto mong ipakita? Anong gusto mong patunayan bilang isang scientist? Kasi hindi pwedeng wala lang. Mabigat yung pagiging isang scientist. Kailangan may ma-establish ka na valuable information to science and a solution to environmental problem. Okay? Selecting and writing the RRL also is a part of the flow. So magbabasa-basa ka ng mga RRL. So you can type sa Google Scholar yung keywords and about yung in the local setup muna, halimbawa sa Philippines, sa lugar ninyo, kung may study na about doon, and then basahin mo kung paano nila ginawa. Kasi RLs can give you idea on how to conduct your study. Okay? Para meron kayong connectiveness. Okay? Third one is identification of research sites. So, pwedeng sabay ito dun sa topic identification na alam mo na kung saan yung site mo. Pero you can be specific with your site. Next one is writing the method. So, based din siya sa RRL mo. Yung ginamit na method ng mga naunang scientist pwede mong gamitin. And if it is not applicable, you can manipulate some of it, a part of it, pero wag mo naman yung buong method yung naggawa ka ng sarili mong method. Medyo mahirap kasi i-prove sa mga panel, yung mga methods na ikaw gumawa. Kailangan kamukha din siya nung iba. Or pinagsama-sama mo yung mga methods na nakita mo. Basta, it is applicable and justifiable. Okay? Next is prepare the instruments. Ito yung mga materials, or if you're going to have the interview, yung mga questionnaires, ayan. Yung mga materials like quadrats, transect meter, and so on, yan. So, number 6 is surveying the research site. So, it is a protocol na kailangan bago magpunta sa site, bisitahin mo muna, i-check if the site is okay, or let's say, ligtas para sa inyo. So, you can have the contacts from the barangay level or the LGU bago magpunta doon. Okay? Para alam mo yung kailangan mong dalhin at i-prepare. Hindi mo alam, meron pala dong marami pala dong mga harmful insects, for example. So, anong kailangan mong dalhin? Para maplano mo na rin kung saan dadaan. Papasok ng isang gubat. Yan. So, you need to survey the research site. Next one is data collection and analysis. So, it is by the use of your methods. And kailangan yung methods mo ay nag-jive sa objectives mo. Hindi pwedeng yung method mo ay mali pala sa objective mo. So, ibig sabihin, kung hindi sila angkop yung objectives and your methods, hindi mo masasagot yung aim mo. Hindi mo masasagot yung problem mo if your methods are wrong. Okay? Next is write the interpretation, conclusion, and recommendations. So, yun dyan na lahat, your analysis and your conclusion and recommendations for future studies. Next is writing and editing the manuscript for the final draft. And if you are aiming for the publication, yan, kailangan sundin mo yung style ng mga publications, yung gusto nila. Paano yung flow ng discussion, yung flow ng data, ayan. So, iba't iba sila ng style. So, if you are aiming to do your research and publish it in journals, so edit it according to their styles. Yan, sa research flow. And of course, you have some tips in writing your research. So, look for research recommendations kung medyo naliligaw ka pa sa topic mo. Diba, hindi mo pa alam kung anong itithesis mo, wala ka pang idea. So, one way is to look for the recommendations ng mga naunang research. Kasi yung mga recommendations kasi, di ba, mga ano yun, information to give you idea on the future studies about that. Okay? So, ano yung kulang sa study nila, yung napupunan mo yon para dire-diretso yung body ng knowledge. Diruksungan mo yung kanilang information, yung research nila. So, magandang way kasi hindi lang natigil doon yung research nila, nasagot yung mga tanong because of your research, because of the recommendations na nakita mo. Ay, ito yung gagawin ko kasi ito yung kulang sa research ni ganito, yung scientist. So, sunod-sunod. Kumbaga, there is a chain of information through research. Okay? Hindi naman kailangan kasi na panibagong mga topic ang gagawin. Pwede naman yung sunod-sunod. Okay? Begin the introduction with evidence-based assertions. So, alam natin yan. Include in the introduction the global setup, the ASEAN, isama na natin ang ASEAN, and local context. For example, in the whole world, ano yung situation ng ecosystem na ito, for example. Or in the Philippines, paano naman yung situation? And in your local setup, paano naman? So, you can write it globally, ASEAN, or local, or baliktad. Local, ASEAN, global. So, it's up to you kasi kayo yung nagkikwento. Kasi ang research nga ay kwento, parang nagkikwento. So, you need to write para ma-inspire yung mga nagbabasa or mailathala yung statement of the problem. Kailangan nakafocus ka din dun sa gaps. Ano yung kulang? Ano yung problem? So, dapat nandun yun sa introduction. Okay? And then write the methods consistent with the objectives. So, sabi ko na rin kanina that your methods should jive with your objectives. Kailangan hindi maliligaw. Because your objectives are your goals, your aims, or the problem. So, you need to have solutions or methods in order to gather data and then solve or feed your objectives para alam mo yung pag-discuss ng problem. Paano yung solution niya. And then, make the sequence of the results and discussion congruent to your objectives. So, kung ano yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng objectives, yun din na pagkakasunod-sunod ng results and discussion. Sa conclusion naman ay target newness of results, validate the theories, answer the purpose of the study. And of course, you need to check the grammar and plagiarism. Okay, so hindi pwedeng kinopya mo lang yung kinopya nila. Okay. So list all text citations in the references. Lahat ng mga sinite ninyo dapat makikita sa references in APA 7th edition format do sa mga nag-require na talaga ng APA 7th edition. Okay? And lastly, avoid using secondary citation. Kung ina-aim mo rin mag-publish, huwag mo nang gayahin yung sinulat nila. Let's say, for example, Asinas, may statement, and then, as cited by Asinas et al., ganun. So, iwas mo na yung as cited by. Kumbaga, just go to the bibliography or references ng study na nakita mo and then look for that author. Tapos, hanapin mo yung kanyang article mismo para ikaw na yung magbasa. Para ang magiging mangyari is primary resource mo siya, not secondary resource. Kasi kalimitan sa atin ay pag nakita tayo ng study na may mga citations, gagayahin natin yon. Tapos, isa-cite natin yung gumaya doon. So, wag natin gawin ngayon. So, avoid na natin siya. Primary resource na lang yung ating gawin. Hanapin natin siya mismo and then basahin natin yung kanilang mga work. So, it's the amount of time pero it's amount of work. Okay? Ayan. So, yun yung mga some tips in writing your research. Yun lang. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the talk. And maraming salamat sa inyong lahat sa pakikinig.
Okay, maraming salamat Ma'am Jesma dun sa sobrang research-based na presentation. So kung ako po, kung third year ako ngayon or fourth year na nagsusulat ng thesis, dapat pinapanood ko to or nire-rewatch ko to. Kasi I know, pag nagsusulat ka na ng manuscript mo, minsan nabablock ka na. So kailangan balikan mo pa rin talaga yung research methodology para at least kahit pa, ay, kailangan ko pala atang sumegway muna or bumalik muna dun sa objectives ko kasi hindi na siya nag-make sense. So yun, malaking bagay po yung mga steps na binigay niyo sa ating mga estudyante. So ask ko lang Ma'am Jess, patanggal po muna ng screen share para makapag-proceed po tayo sa ating
Ah,
uh, question and answer portion. Okay. So bago lang din po ulit tayo punta sa question and answer and para mabigyan po kayo ng time na makainom ng tubig kasi medyo ano po, madami ang ating nasabi. So, shout out lang po muna sa mga comments sa Facebook and I think na-justify po talaga bakit tayo nag-webinar kasi even if hindi po tayo nasa Mindoro or nasa Parañaque right now, ang dami po nating na-reach. So, nakapunta virtually sa Palawan, meron po Misamis Oriental, akala ko kanina, Mindoro, hindi pala. And then we have yun nga po yung Philippine Women's University and we have Mindanao State University at Nooawan. We also have Mindanao, Cavite State Main Campus, Polytechnic University of the Philippines. Sorry, ang dami po. USM, University of Southern Mindanao. MINSU, ayun po yung mga estudyante nyo. Mindoro State University. We also have Bukidnon State University. Bukidnon, Cavite, Bukidnon, Buksu, Cavite. Tarlac State University. Mindanao State University, Marawi Campus. Caraga State. Ang dami tiga Bukidnon. Meron pong Ateneo de Manila. And then, wait lang po, ang dami. Sultan Kudarat, andito na rin po sila. University of Eastern Philippines. Bukidnon, PUP, Isabela State University. So, na-mention niyo po yung init ng Isabela at nandito po sila. And then, Davao Oriental State University. Ayan, sali po kayo sa amin soon. And, Masbate State College. May Maropa po ba ang Masbate? Hindi, Marinduque. Joke lang. Then PUP Manila, CBSUA Pasakaw. So sabi ko naman po. So marami pong napapanood sa atin. And with that po, we can proceed with yung summary. Ang hirap po mag-summarize kung makita niyo po yung notes. I think this is the challenge every time na mag-summarize po ako ng isang webinar. Kasi sa dami ng talking points, kailangan tatlong bullet po. Tatlo lang po yung i-share ko. So, iti-trim down po muna natin. So, ako po pinaka-ano ko, yung number one, and I think, ini-emphasize ko po to sa PAES officers and PAES members na hindi lang po tayo basta environmental advocates. So, nasabi niyo po yun sa first part ng talk nila. Scientist po kasi talaga tayo. So, scientist. Kailangan wag nating tanggalin sa pangalan natin na environmental scientist tayo. Kasi may research method tayo sinusundan. And ang ganda po ng basic and applied research na dinifferentiate ko kasi at least makikita nila na hindi naman pwedeng basic lang, hindi pwedeng applied lang. So marami silang options. And then number two po, yung sa different environmental problems, we all know na generalist ang NYSI, pero kaya po nating sundutin yung mga bagay-bagay. So every time po talaga na may webinar, natutuwa po ako pag yung speaker ay nagsasabi ng isang keyword na kahit pa paano may surface level ako na knowledge. So, for example po kanina yung problem natin is plastic pollution. Napunta po tayo sa ocean current, sa microplastic, sa marine mammals. Tapos syempre kung policy po, yung UN Plastic Treaty. So dahil lang sa isang environmental problem, halos 4 na research topic na po yung pwede natin gawin. So ganun po kaganda or ka-holistic yung pwedeng mapasukan ng mga estudyante natin na gusto mag-end-by-site. And then lastly, ito po yung pinaka-cute. Pinaka-cute. And nag-top off po siya sa priority ng aking key points. Yung recommendations po. Kasi ako as a researcher, una ko po tinitingnan abstract and then methodology. So dapat pala, maganda rin na tingnan yung recommendations kasi ayun na nga nagawa na nila yung research. And if you're interested to continue that research, makikita mo saan sila nagkulang and saan na-limit yung scope nila. And you can actually continue the research. So maganda po yung recommendation part. So Isa po yun sa something yun na natutunan ko today. Okay. So punta po tayo sa ating question and answer since nakahinga na po kayo. So, ang pinakauna pong question, doon muna tayo sa warm-up question. So meron po tayong mga 5 questions. And siguro magsa-stop po tayo ng 4:45. So it's 4:27 right now. So depende po sa number of questions na ating ako kunin. So yung pinakauna pong question is, syempre po kayo po ay nag-UP Open University. Ano po ba ang difference or unique characteristic pag nagtitake po kayo ng a master sa OU?
Yung masters, ano yung difference?
Opo.
Ah, ang mas maganda sa ang masters kasi lalo kung ikaw ay nag-work na, you have experienced all of those careers o yung mga ginagawa mo. Kaya may i-share mo yung mga na-experience mo doon sa mga kaklase mo and maganda rin siyang background information sa sinusulat mo. Kasi sa masters, maraming sulatin. As an experience ko sa OpenU, palagi kaming merong activity na write-up. Mostly write-up talaga. So, nakakatulong yung na-experience ko sa field para mas mapaganda yung work ko kaysa sa wala akong kaalam-alam dun sa sinusulat ko. Ayun.
Pero tama po bang full online ang OU?
Oo, oo.
Or,
Full online siya. Hindi pa nga ako
ah,
nakapunta dun sa wala kaming virtual. Modular kami.
okay po.
Mhm.
Okay, so ayan po. So sa mga ano na hindi kayang mag face-to-face na masters, may option po tayo sa Open University para kahit pa paano, nakapag-masters pa rin po kayo kahit hindi niyo pa mapuntahan yung mismong TED. Okay. Then yung sa second question naman po natin is, nasabi niyo nga po na marami pang under research areas sa Mindoro. So gaano kaaga po ba dapat magsulat yung isang estudyante na nasa isang university na hindi po sa Mindoro para makipag-partner sa or makipag-research collaboration sa MINSO po?
Ah, maganda sa sa collaboration, for example, sa biological na part. Ayan. Yung may mga nag-aaral din kasi sa Mindoro na from UST, from FEU. So, why not from Minso din? And then, pwede naman kayo makipag-collaborate kasi your expertise ay acceptable. Kumbaga, scientists sa buong Pilipinas pwedeng mag-aral sa Mindoro. Pag-aralan ng Mindoro. Ayun. Tsaka,
Okay po. So sa mga
sa
interested
Mindoro.
mag-aral sa Verde Island Pass, ay sorry, go po.
Yeah, okay lang. Sa Minso, hindi naman kasi nandito lahat. Wala pa kami ditong BS Biology. Wala pa yung about sa iba pang mga sectors. So, environmental science lang. So, mas maganda, may mga iba pang disciplines from other schools na mahikayat na mag-aral, pag-aralan ng Mindoro together with us. Yun.
Okay po. So sa mga gusto mag-aral sa Verde Island Passage saka sa Tamaraw kasi kailangan natin sila i-observe, pwede po kayo makipag-collaborate sa Mindoro State University. So message lang po kay Ma'am Jensma. Okay, so doon na po tayo sa sa totoong questions na. So yung pinakaunang question po na galing sa participants is actually nasagot niyo po dun sa mangrove part ng talk mo. So may mga questions po from Cavite State University about mangroves. So ang summary lang po noon is guilty rin po kasi ako as vice president na nakapagtanim ng mangrove kasi nga po suggested ng LGU na yun yung itanim at doon sa area yun. So paano po ba yung best approach na kapag may sinuggest si LGU tapos hindi pa naman po experts yung mga students natin kung tama ba talaga yun? Paano po natin i-correct yung mga LGU na, uy, ito po talaga yung tamang species at zonation na dapat natin sundin?
Okay, so I think the first way that we need to do is to communicate with them. Kasi yung communication mahalaga sa isang environmental scientist. So sabihin natin that according to research, yan, or sa mga pag-aaral about mangroves, yung zonation dapat sundin natin. Kasi hindi magiging effective yung pagtatanim kung mali yung itatanim natin. Kumbaga, nagtanim lang tayo for the sake of pictures or para lang may accomplishment. Pero yung sustainability wala. So we need to tell them nicely na it's not sustainable. So, kailangan nating mag-create or ng nursery for the species na maganda itanim doon sa lugar nila. Para pag nagkaroon na, yun ang itanim natin. Or kung meron na tayong pananim, itanim natin doon sa tamang lugar, wag na doon sa proposed area nila. Kasi mali. parang masisira lang yung design and hindi effective yung magiging outcome.
Okay po. So dapat open communication po with the LGU kasi meron pong institutional experts at meron ding research experts. Okay. So yung second question naman po is from the Central Bicol State University of Agriculture students. So paano po ba yung maghanap ng research in a particular university that is about the environment?
Again, paano maghanap ng research?
Research po in a particular university about the environment.
Sa loob ng university, tama ba?
I mean,
Okay.
kuwari po sa UPLB, sa NINSU, sa CBSUA, paano po ba dapat mag-site inspection or mag-site
Okay,
identification?
site inspection. Okay. So madali lang naman. Kung sa yung common na ginagawa, syempre susulat, ganun, tama ba? Nasagot ko ba? Yeah, you need to have the letter first to address to the president, yan, to have the site visitation. Or kung sa buong island, halimbawa ng Mindoro, you can tap Minsu, you can write sa governor or sa mga mayor na target ninyong site para alam nila and ma-assist kayo on your site visitation. Tsaka mismo kasi ang subject nyo is Mindoro, so dapat meron assistance from them para alam nila nandun kayo. Yan.
Okay po. I think ito medyo related po din sa site identification. So medyo bagong question lang po. Though hindi niya po na-state kung saan siya affiliated. As, syempre alam naman po natin ang Verde Island Passage ay medyo trending. Or pinag-uusapan po talaga. So how to deal with difficult research sites with high risk in terms of safety and security.
Okay, so how to deal with the sites na kailangan ng safety and security?
Na high risk po yung high risk siya.
High risk, okay. So, nasa kasi, na protocol ng halimbawa ng safety muna bago ang field work. Kailangan kasi safe ka doon sa field. So, kung may pagkakataon or may makita kang site na pwede mong puntahan na same ang objectives and doon din naman within the area, doon ka na lang pumunta. Kasi kung high risk yun, wag mo naman i-risk yung buhay mo para doon. Kasi wala ka pang nasimulan. Wala ka pang nasimulan pero nawala ka na.
Hindi ka na pinapasok.
Mahirap yun, So, you need to study the area na lang. Alin doon ang pwedeng daanan, siguro. Alin doon ang pwedeng puntahan. Or pwede ka magtanong sa community. Mahalaga yung knowledge ng community about that. Na ma-inform ka niya na meron ditong mga grupo ng mga delikadong mga organism. So, huwag ka dito. So, dito ka dadaan sa kabila. So, yan, mga ganun ba? And of course, gear yourself ng mga protective suits, ano ba yan? Or kung ano mang mga para handa. And kung may option ka talaga to other areas, doon ka na lang sa other areas. Kung hindi talaga pwede. So, yun. Pero sa Verde Island
I think
Passage,
maganda po yung pag-communicate.
sa
Sige
Verde
po, sa
Island
Verde
Passage,
Island ay.
pwede naman. Okay naman doon. Mag-dive ka. Eh, mag-dive. Pwede naman kasi may nag-dive na doon. Yun.
Okay po. Sige po. Pupunta po kami dyan soon. Pero I
So,
think maganda po yung sa community kasi nga po, mas kilala po nila yung area eh.
yeah.
So, kung sinabi po nila na, okay, itong site na to, kuwari isang bundok syempre malaki po yung bundok. Itong site na to, okay. Yung kabilang side medyo kailangan bantayan. So, mas alam po ng local community yung kalagayan ng lugar in terms of natural resources and social uh, mechanics as well.
Oo,
So, ito
tsaka,
po. Sige po, go.
sige, saglit na. Kasi yung iba, naghingi sila ng assistance sa mga police. Tamaan sila. Yun.
Opo. So, get government support.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question po is, ano po yung major challenges that you encountered during your environmental research in Mindoro?
Okay, challenge. So, ang naging challenge ko lang naman ay yung nilelevel ko yung sarili ko kung ka-level ko na ba yung mga kasama ko. Kasi baka minsan napapag-iwanan ako bilang isang scientist or isang environmentalist, yun. Yun lang namang sa peer. Pero it's a challenge or it's a way para i-enhance yung sarili, yan. And what else ay yung lugar kapag ano medyo risky. Minsan sinasabi ng nanay mo, ng tatay mo na huwag ka pumunta doon ganyan kasi malamok ganyan or mapuputikan ka. Okay? So wala yun sa environmental scientist. It is our field. Okay lang sa atin maputikan, mabasa, maulanan, mapagod. Kasi yun yung trabaho natin and we love our work. Okay? So, yung challenge. What else? Research is a challenge, of course, talaga.
Okay. Yung topic pa lang po, mahirap na.
Oo.
Okay po. Ito medyo mahaba po yung question, so ito-try ko pong i-summarize saglit. Ah, since the topic niyo po kanina yung global warming and we all know that global warming is a natural phenomenon or naturally happening. But this time po, bakit binibigyan concern po siya ng mga scientists natin?
Of course, because we have say in global warming. Hindi lang bilang mga tao na kasama ng ibang tao na nakakaapekto sa pagdagdag ng ng greenhouse gases. So sa mga scientists, isa tayong paraan para masolusyonan yung mga impacts ng climate change, global warming sa ating local setup. For example, malapit ka sa dagat. So, dapat mas concerned ka kasi yung mga kababayan mo doon pwedeng makaranas ng effects ng stronger typhoons, tapos sea level rise. So, lalo Pilipinas kasi sabi nila, Philippines is the doormat of strong typhoons kasi tayo nakaharap sa Pacific. So, we have a say to that kahit hindi tayo contributor ng much greenhouse gases. So, we can do many things as environmental scientists through research.
Okay. Sige po. And then, siguro yung last question na po natin for this is it okay to start your research in advance po kahit second year ka pa lang?
Kung akong tatanungin ninyo, yes, you can think na kaagad ng research area ninyo, ng research topic ninyo para marami kayong time magbasa ng RRL, marami kayong time na ma-level off yung mga kailangan yung gawin, yung methods nila, tingnan nyo kung applicable ba, para marami ka ring time na makapagtanong sa mga ibang mga estudyante, sa mga experts. And mas maganda rin yung alam mo na rin kasi doon ka magfo-focus. Parang kasi tayo wala tayong major, 'di ba? Wala tayong specialization. So your thesis or your research is your specialization. So ano ba, mangrove people ka. So talagang puro mangroves na yung babasahin mo. Halimbawa about birds, birds okay, soil, air, so yun. Mas mapapaaga yung pag-build up ng sarili mo to that certain topic na gusto mong puntahan as your specialization.
Yes, but I think it will give them more allowance kung nasa gusto ba nilang path. So in the event na ayaw po nilang ituloy yung currently nabasa nila o may nag-interest pa sa kanilang bagong topic, pwede pa silang tumawid bago sila
Tama,
mag-thesis or mag-major.
tama.
Okay, so maraming salamat po sa na mga nagtanong. And ang dami pong universities from all over the Philippines. So balik lang po tayo sa ating programa since it's already 4:40. So double checking my screen. Wait lang po ah. Okay. So again, thank you Ma'am Jesma for being the resource speaker for this month. So we'll just proceed with the giving of the certificate. So this certificate of appreciation is given to Ma'am Jesma A. Asinas, ME and RM, in recognition for her valuable contribution as resource speaker in FANTAS, environmental research in the local and global setup. Given this 30th day of April 2024, courtesy of the UPLB School of Environmental Science and Management, Los Baños, Laguna, Philippines. So signed by Kendrick Fernilo, President and Founder of Philippine Association of Environmental Sciences. Maraming salamat, Ma'am Jesma.
Maraming salamat din sa inyong lahat and mabuhay tayong lahat mga environmental scientists.
Yes po. And sa para po sa huli nating announcements to student organizations, environmental science, environmental management, engineering, biology, or planning, or yung MENRM, tinatanggap po namin kayo sa PAEL. So marami po tayong network, kagaya po sinabi ni Ma'am Jesma, multi and interdisciplinary and advisory. So we need to bond together kasi tayo yung community na magsosolve ng environmental problems using environmental research and evidences. And okay, So mali po itong next namin. So i-announce na lang din po siguro namin ang next PIES activity namin would be uh, so next week pa naman po siya yung official posting, but we will be hosting the first Philippine Environmental Science Olympiad. So this is an online quizcon na gaganapin po sa June 2024 in celebration of the Philippine Environment Month. So pakiantabayanan na lang po sa aming Facebook pages kung paano po sumali yung mga environmental science students natin sa isang national environmental science quizcon. Okay, and ganito po ulit kalawak yung ating network sa PAES. So we have 46 universities as of April 2024. And the evaluation form po will be placed in the FB Live comment section sa mga ilang minuto lamang, and we will be closing that tomorrow, 8 p.m. And again, if you want to know more about environmental science and environmental research, kindly follow us at NYSci_students_PH in Instagram and at Environmental Science Students PH in YouTube. And again, makinig po tayo sa qualified scientist. So daghang salamat sa tanan and amping kananay. I-end na po namin yung Facebook page, but for the people in Zoom, stay lang po tayo sa lab.